What's going on, guys? So today I figured I would go over my sleep study CMP exam experience, and hopefully it helps you out. Here's some things that I wish I did know, and I don't know, I feel like I wasted a lot of time. So hopefully this cuts to the chase and helps you guys out if you're claiming sleep apnea. And I would probably tell you why you should probably get a sleep study done. So I'll explain my experience pretty much from the beginning to the end. And hopefully it helps you out, and then add some information in there. So anyways, at first I didn't even know what sleep apnea was, right? Most people, I think most people don't. But I had a veteran buddy tell me, like, look, man, most likely you have sleep apnea, and he started listing out certain symptoms of sleep apnea. One was, choking in your sleep, having a hard time sleeping, not feeling like you have a full night's rest when you wake up, even if you sleep 8 hours. Is your partner or people that you're sleeping around, are they telling you, hey, I noticed that you are snoring really loud in your sleep? And basically, when he said all those things, I was like, I experience all those things. I have crappy sleep. I choke in my sleep. Like, I have panic attacks in my sleep because I just stop breathing. I snore. People tell me I snore. So anyways, so that inclined me to claim it on my exam. However, I never had a sleep study while I was in service. So, and I'll explain to you why that's an issue, right? So sleep apnea, and I don't have any notes or anything. This is really just all my experience and everything I've kind of just read. But sleep apnea, from what I've read all over the place and from what I've heard from a lot of people's experiences, it's really hard to claim and get as a direct rating, right? If you just claim it as a singular rating on its own, sleep apnea, it's really hard to get that approved and get a rating for that, right? And so if you have a CPAP machine, right, and it says this on the ECFR, you can Google this, ECFR, sleep disturbances, sleep apnea, you will see that on the 50% rating on the scaling, 50% is given if the veteran or person is in requirement of a CPAP machine. And if you don't know what that is, CPAP machine is basically a machine that helps you. I forgot what the actual acronym stands for, so apologize in advance. But basically, what it does is it helps push air into your lungs and helps you pretty much breathe at night, right? So it prevents a lot of the choking and a lot of the prevention it pretty much creates a constant airflow and helps you breathe. Again, I'm not a doctor, so I apologize if I'm butchering that, but basically that's what it is, I think. And so I never got a sleep study, even when I was in service. Even I knew I had some issues, but I thought it was pretty much, I don't know. For whatever reason, I never got a sleep study. Anyways, and so I claimed it, and I put it on my one of my claims, right? And so that was one of my CP exams. This one was different than all the other CMP exams, and I'll do a whole other video on pretty much every experience I had with all my CMP exams. But this one was different, in which it was a telephone consult or meeting, right? They called me up. They asked me a bunch of questions that pretty much are identical to the DBQs. So if you guys haven't seen the sleep study DBQ or the sleep apnea DBQ, you should probably Google that and look at those questions and try to get familiar and and figure out where you fall in those questions. But basically, the rep for QTC, which was the testing center, the contractor, they asked me a bunch of questions that, like how often are you getting a full night's rest? How long is the duration of your sleep? Are you waking up tired? All those questions, right? All the symptoms, pretty much questions to the symptoms that I just mentioned to you that I've been having for the last couple of years since I was in the military. Obviously, I answered those, basically gave you the same. I just told you that was basically the responses that I gave to them. And then she was like, okay, we're going to send you a sleep study, right? So in some cases they might do like a sleep study at a facility. I think most cases with these CMP exams, they just send you a sleep study over like in the mail, And basically, it's just it's a device that connects to a small tube. You know, have you ever seen like in the hospital they give you those tubes for like into your nostrils? Basically, you connect that. You strap the machine that reads like the pulmonary device or whatever. It reads like your how many times you're breathing, your the rate of what you breathe. And then you also have a device that tracks your heart rate and such that connects to your finger, right? So you're going to be kind of uncomfortable when you do this test. And so within a few days, I received it. It was sent expedited, so that was great. And I had the sleep. I followed the instructions. You know, it tells you, it pretty much the package gives you a like the medical tape in which you can you pretty much tape down the tubing, and you tape down the wiring for your finger. And then you have a strap on for the CPAP machine, or not CPAP machine, but the sleep study device to you, right? It's like a Velcro. You strap it on to your chest, and it tells you whether or not it's in a good position. It'll light up. It'll show when you do the test. You'll get what I mean. But anyways, I did all that. Had the sleep test. Sent it in. Finally got my results for that. Like maybe within, I don't know, a month. And then, lo and behold, what did it say? No sleep apnea. And so I was a little brought back by that, because I'm like, then what is the issue, right? So when I found that out, I was already going to the VA for my other issues. I was like, screw it. I'm going to figure out whether or not I have actual sleep apnea. So I scheduled a consult with the sleep clinic, right? And your VA, local VA, or whoever you're attending should have a sleep clinic. If not, if you have a private doctor, inquire about, your sleep issues and such, and ask if you probably have sleep apnea. They might give you a sleep test. In this case, I went to the VA. I went to the VA, and I seen the sleep clinic. And the doctor asked me a bunch of questions, like basically everything I just explained to you with all my symptoms. You're going to be pretty repetitive throughout all these processes, especially if you're claiming things, right? And so, anyways, I told her all my symptoms, and they administered a sleep study. Basically, it was the same exact thing that I did for the CMP exam. There were some issues here and there, like the first exam I did, they didn't get a good reading, so they had to do another one. And so finally, I did that about 3 times. The third time was a charm. They got a good sleep study on me. I brought it home, did the whole thing again, brought it back to the VA, and within a few days, they had the results. And basically what it said was I had mild obstructive sleep apnea. Mild obstructive, I stopped breathing a few times an hour or something like that, and I do have all the other symptoms of sleep apnea. And so I was like, okay, so I do have sleep apnea. So what I wish I had done, and what most people tell you to do that have been through this experience of claiming sleep apnea, is acquiring a few things. First thing, if you can get your sleep study done while you're still in service, do so. That's probably the easiest way to do that and claim it and get it a rating. If you are even remotely curious, go do and see if you actually do have sleep apnea, because if you have sleep apnea, you get a CPAP machine. You're pretty much, correct me if I'm wrong, but most people I've heard from is that were pretty much shoo-in for getting a sleep apnea rating, right? If you do not have a sleep apnea, if you do not get sleep apnea diagnosed when you're in service, the next best thing is claiming it as a secondary condition, secondary claim to a mental health claim. Now, most people say that they have a high success rate on this, versus claiming it as a direct, because I don't know if the VA just makes it hard to claim as a direct claim if you do not have prior medical records or such of sleep apnea. But most people, including my boy Combat Craig, they advise claiming it as a secondary claim to mental health. So if you have PTSD, depression, anxiety, whatever it is, claiming it a secondary condition to mental health. And why is that? And you might ask, why is it easier, right? Sorry if I'm slurring my words. It's been a long day. I had my coffee though. You may be wondering, why is that the issue, or why is it easier? Well, what I've read and what a lot of people have told me anecdotally is because the way the VA kind of connects it is like, look, sleep apnea can be caused, if it's obstructive, it's because your airway, whatever it is, you know, you're not getting enough air through there. And so it could be because you gained weight. Why did you gain weight? It's probably because you're really depressed. And most veterans, I think, are, you know, if they suffer from depression after service, they gain a lot of weight, or they gain just enough weight that causes them to, you know, attain something like sleep apnea. And so I've certainly gained weight since I've been in. It's been a little over, or almost a year now since I got out, and no PT, right? So I've definitely gained weight. And so this is what I'm doing. I pretty much filed for sleep apnea. I filed a supplemental just to kind of, because in the meantime, after it got denied, I had sleep apnea, the whole sleep apnea test and all that stuff, and so I had the record that's showing that I did have a obstructive sleep apnea. And so since then, since the denial, I received a CPAP machine. So I have a CPAP machine now. I went through the whole thing where they take you through the little, 1 hour class where they teach you how to use it. And so now I use it every night, and I have records. And so I filed a supplemental to pretty much challenge the rating decision, which was basically a denial. And so now I'm waiting. But now if it fails, again, right, for whatever reason, I'm going to file it again as a secondary rating to my depression, because I have a rating for depression, anxiety, and other mental jargon, whatever it's called. And I'll let you guys know on the results of that. But I've heard a lot of people have success on that. Tons of veterans have success claiming it as a secondary claim. Hopefully it helps you guys out. If you're filing it as a secondary claim, to kind of to your mental health, or even if you're claiming as a direct claim, and you haven't been rated, or if you haven't been diagnosed with it before, make sure you have at least a current diagnosis. So if you've gotten out and you never had a diagnosis before in service, get a diagnosis by the VA or an outside doctor, preferably an outside doctor, because then you can go ahead and ask them to do a Nexus Letter if possible. A Nexus Letter is basically an official medical statement from a doctor stating like the connection between your service and their sleep apnea, right? And you can do like a buddy letter, personal statement, basically anything that backs up your claim of sleep apnea. Nexus Letter, buddy statement. Maybe you're deployed and people sleeping around you, right? They would tell you, they would know. Your personal statement, if you're a spouse or a partner, people you sleep around now, they'll write a statement for you. But the most important thing, I think, is going to be your current medical diagnosis, because if you don't have that, then it's really hard to prove that you have sleep apnea. And so I hope this helps. I think this will help a lot of veterans. Super straightforward. I hope I didn't beat around the bush too much. I appreciate the support. If you guys have any recommendations, if you guys have insights, if you guys have experiences and maybe contrary information than what I'm putting out, please let me know. Comment below. I accept all types of feedback, and I look forward to building this community further with you guys. Let's all, we're a community of veterans, and we got to help each other out, and we got to be there for each other. And I know it can be hard mentally. I understand how that works. And so anyways, I'm glad to help build a cohesive group of people that are willing to help each other out and be there for each other. So anyways, appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.